Hi, my name is Barry Goff. I'm Senior Director of Platform Strategy at Outsystems, and I'm excited to be here today at the Cloud Innovation Summit to talk about succeeding at digital transformation. And specifically, I'd like to spend some time talking with you about some industry trends, to talk about how Outsystems helps our customers with their digital transformation journeys, and also share a few specific examples of successes that our customers have been able to achieve. So to start, the exciting thing about digital transformation is that when it's done right, it has the power to unlock new ways of delivering value for customers. It can help companies stay ahead in changing competitive landscapes. It can even open up totally new opportunities for markets that never existed before. However, if if done incorrectly or if not done at all, the consequences can really be dire. This was especially the case last year with the global pandemic. And because of the pandemic, the massive move from in-person to online channels. In fact, Accenture estimates that during 2020, $3 trillion was redistributed across value chains as a result of shifting consumer behaviors. Just one small example of those shifts is a move away from in-person travel, with a move towards online entertainment or in-home entertainment. And the truth is that most companies are painfully aware of those trends. In fact, in a recent study that McKinsey did, only 8% of companies that they surveyed believed that their existing business models would remain economically viable through the next round of digital transformation. So where does that leave us? Like, what's the implication when it comes to digital transformation? Well, the key idea behind becoming a modern digital business is not about just digitizing old business models. It's about using technology to align people, process, new offerings around an entirely new way of serving customers. It's about becoming more customer centric. And to be clear, that's not just a business to consumer thing, that's also a business to business thing. You can think of how there are opportunities to drive customer centricity within the framework of a existing supply chain, for instance. The bottom line, though, is that becoming more customer centric has measurable business value. In fact, our close partners at Deloitte, they recently did a study where they found that customer-centric customers were 60% more profitable when compared to companies that were not focused on adapting to their customers. So a quick example of a customer that's been able to successfully make this transition is an Outsystems customer that is a global beverage company. They've been in business for 100 years. They have a presence in 100 different countries. And frustratingly for them, 2020 was the first year in the history of the company where they actually lost money. The frightening shift away from in-person dining and bars, and had a huge dent in their profitability. But rather than being deterred, they seized the opportunity to use digital transformation to become closer with their customers. So even though they have supply chains that have been built out over decades and decades with lots of different layers. They built a mobile app that allowed them to connect directly with their end consumers and allowed those end consumers to purchase their beverages and have it be delivered to their house through restaurants. And they could also order the food from all those restaurants that serve their beverages. And the cool thing about this is it not only created new value for our customer by enabling them to have this direct connection with their end consumer, but they were able to take advantage of the existing supply chain to do that. So they brought everyone along with them. Really exciting story. So COVID definitely created challenges for companies all around the world and continues today, unfortunately. However, the reality is that's not the only disruption to business that's going on today, and it will certainly not be the only disruption going forward. The reality is the pace of change is accelerating, and the opportunities for disrupting markets is only expanding. For example, Amazon, which has an incredible presence in the online retail business, is moving into brick and mortar. Right? They purchased in the last couple of years Whole Foods, and so there's all kinds of change happening in that particular market. Thinking about stuff that might be a little bit further out, but has the opportunity to create massive disruption is, Elon Musk has innovated around rockets. He's innovated around automobiles, and now he's innovating around man-machine interfaces with his company Neuralink, which is doing work to connect people's brains directly to their computers. Wild stuff that has massive implications for how people will use technology going forward. Something a little bit nearer term, but also a potential massive disruptor is ubiquitous 5G. And I don't just mean a disruptor in terms of consumer habits, but the opportunity to create all kinds of new types of applications in the business space, field services, distribution. Those markets could be completely disrupted by the availability of ubiquitous 5G. And change that we're all living through over the past few years is the move to the cloud. And cloud has, and especially AWS, offers amazing benefits to customers in moving our technology investments to the cloud. However, that can make doing that move isn't always the easiest thing to do, and can create disruption in the way we think about moving our businesses forward. So in dealing with disruption or taking advantage of these new opportunities, there are lots of different ways to go about digital transformation. And in fact, there are kind of four major areas where we see our customers investing in their digital transformation journeys. So we've talked a ton about customer centricity, and that's kind of the area where most people start, is CX transformation, or customer experience transformation. So delivering new digital products, new customer onboarding journeys, support chatbots, self-service portals, all kinds of stuff that are customer facing. However, customers are also looking internally at how they can use new technologies to reimagine their internal operations, to innovate in their back office functions. So things like operational dashboards or completely changing the way they do inventory management, but also things like field sales or field inspection applications. There are all kinds of opportunities to use digital transformation to change the way value is managed within our organizations. But also empowering employees is another big area where we see digital transformation. So workforce facing applications like health and safety apps, which obviously were all the rage this past year, workspace management, benefits, employee onboarding is a huge one as companies are growing and bringing in new employees, making those employees effective in a shorter amount of time has massive value to companies. And then finally, updating all the core systems on which these other three areas depend, right? The companies have existing investments in CRM and ERP, in other cloud another core infrastructure, and also taking advantage of cloud services. So upgrading all that old technology or the existing technology and extending it or integrating it together. It's another major area where we see customers investing their digital transformation dollars. So given that we're talking about how digital transformation journeys succeed, so given that we're talking about how digital transformation projects succeed, it's important to spend some time thinking about why some digital transformation projects fail. And from all the research that we've done, it really comes down to two main reasons. One is that the vast majority of these digital transformation projects are built on custom code, and developing custom software is harder than it's ever been. A lot of these projects fail under the weight of the complexity associated with writing custom code. Another big reason that digital transformation projects fail is that each digital transformation project is inextricably interconnected with other ones. And if you don't plan all them out, then when you get to the end of one, oftentimes you end up at a dead end. So let's talk about these challenges in a little bit more detail. So it's no great revelation for me to say that developing custom software is hard. It's always been a challenge. In fact, that's why Outsystems was founded 20 years ago. But it's also the case that in general, developing custom software is harder than it's ever been before. And it's getting harder because of a variety of reasons. One reason is it's just hard to find enough developers to do the projects that customers already have on the books. Even if you're one of the Silicon Valley elite, they can't hire developers fast enough. So the rest of us are even more challenged to fill out our developer ranks. But it's not only the fact that there aren't enough people to write the code. It's also the case that there's just more code to be written. The level of technical complexity has exploded over the last 10 years. In fact, recent research shows that developers are managing 100 times more code than they did 10 years ago. In addition to that, there are currents that we're all swimming against when we're developing new code, and that has to do with technical debt. Right? Technical debt it is a huge barrier for creating anything new. And over the years, companies have, the amount of technical debt within companies' infrastructure has continued to grow. And in fact, recently, one study showed that 72% of businesses' IT resources are being allocated just to managing and maintaining existing code as opposed to driving any innovation. There's hardly any time left to do new projects because all of the time is spent just maintaining old projects. And then you add on top of that, that as complexity grows and as the demands on technology grows, it gets harder and harder just to meet the most basic functional requirements, non-functional requirements rather. So for instance, security, right? If you look at inquiries going to industry analyst organizations, the vast majority of inquiries aren't about cool new technologies and new business strategies. It's about how to manage security. Right? That's the number one thing that gets asked about the most because there's so much risk and so much complexity just keeping stuff secure and not crashing down is what keeps a lot of people up at night. So combine all these things together and there are huge headwinds when it comes to building custom applications in order for us to complete our digital transformation journeys. But there's another, as I mentioned, reason that a lot of these projects fail. And it's this idea that no digital transformation initiative is an island. Each project often relies on other projects. And if you don't manage them all together, you end up at dead ends and the whole thing comes falling down. So just as an example, if we look at the type of projects that people are focused on, as I mentioned earlier, a place where a lot of people start is customer-facing external solutions. So for instance, a company creates a new customer onboarding journey and really ups their game in terms of creating a smoother onboarding process for customers. But if what's required to complete that onboarding journey is a visit from a field services professional to a business or to a home, and a similar amount of investment hasn't yet gone into that part of the process, then the customer experience can go south incredibly quickly, even though they might have had that a positive experience with that initial connection. But then it doesn't end just with the back office types of solutions. Take, for instance, employee health and safety apps, right? If you're sending a field services professional out to a home or to an office and they haven't been properly trained, especially now in the middle of a pandemic, right? That can create discontinuity and ruin the entire experience. Again, regardless of how much you invested on the front end, if you don't invest on the back end, the whole thing can come crashing down. So at the end of the day, if all these interconnections aren't well thought out, then the whole thing can come crashing down. So how do we address these two issues? How do we succeed with digital transformation? Well, with the first issue, instead of continuing to bang our head against the wall, we can change the way software is developed. And instead of running into dead ends with our digital transformation journeys, if we start with a holistic approach to digital transformation, then we can avoid some of those pitfalls that we talked about because of the interconnectedness between all the different elements of digital transformation. So let's first talk about making software development better, because that is the reason that Outsystems was founded 20 years ago. In order to make software development better, we needed to fundamentally change the way software development is done. So how do we improve software development? Well, to start with, we focus on speed. One of the major benefits of the Outsystems platform is a dramatic reduction in the amount of time it takes to get from concept to a live production app. We dramatically improve the productivity of developers. So even if you don't have a massive army of developers, you can get way more productivity with the people that you already have. So how do we achieve these tremendous gains in productivity? Well, we've built an entire platform focused on accelerating developer productivity. So we start with visual tools built on top of a model-based architecture that makes it vastly easier to construct applications, and any type of application, workflows, ones that access data, build beautiful user interfaces. We also integrate artificial intelligence into our developer tools, not to replace developers. Developers are the engine of creativity, but what the AI does is it helps get rid of redundant activities. It can also help ensure architectural soundness of the applications that are being built. We also include hundreds of built-in integrations into the platform. So whatever you're building on top of, whatever database, whatever SaaS application, whatever legacy business app, ERP solution, those integrations are already built into the platform. So you don't have to do any extra work to integrate with all your existing investments. We also include the ability to start from a template. So rather than starting with a complete blank slate, you can start with a template for a particular type of mobile app, or a particular type of web portal, or a particular type of web service. There are a whole host of templates built into the platform, ones that we've built, and also ones that third parties have built that make it easy to get the first version of the app up within minutes or hours instead of weeks or months. In addition to focusing on the productivity of developers, we've also invested in improving the productivity of the entire multifunctional team. So in the same way that we use visual tools for developers, we similarly have visual tools for UI, UX professionals, for business analysts who are building workflows, for data scientists who are building ML models, for QA engineers, for DevOps professionals, for security ops. Even enterprise architects have their own visual set of tools in the Outsystems platform. So we're not only focusing on developer productivity, we're focusing on productivity across the entire life cycle of the application, and for all the different people that are participating in the digital transformation project. And again, it's not just tools. The Outsystems platform encompasses the entire application lifecycle. So from development to testing, to deployment, to monitoring, to redeploying applications, to integrating in existing code that's been written on other platforms. Every step of the application lifecycle is managed and enhanced by the Outsystems platform, but also the Outsystems platform is designed to work with all of your existing investments. And not only is the Outsystems platform helping to speed up the development of applications. If you build crummy software fast, that's no good. You have to build applications fast, but you also have to build applications right. And so the Outsystems platform, importantly, it's not enough to build applications quickly if those applications aren't built well. The Outsystems platform includes a tremendous amount of technology to make sure that whatever you build on the platform will meet the most stringent requirements, such as security, reliability, scalability, manageability. Without those core capabilities of the platform, no digital transformation journey will be successful. And so we've built all kinds of really important technology into our platform. So there's technology for architects to ensure that applications adhere to corporate standards. There's technology for IT professionals to ensure strong governance when you have large development teams or highly distributed development teams. There's a tremendous amount of technology to ensure that applications are secure from development time all the way through to runtime. In fact, there are almost 300 different security checks built into the platform, from design time through to runtime. On top of those nearly 300 checks, there's additional capability specifically for securing mobile applications that we call App Shield. One cool benefit of the architecture of our platform, which relies on generating native code that runs on the runtime, is that you can use third-party enterprise scanning tools to look for vulnerabilities in the code, potential vulnerabilities over and above what's already built into the Outsystems platform. If you need SOC 2 compliance, the Outsystems platform is capable of delivering that. Just about any kind of security infrastructure or capability that you can think of is most likely already built into the Outsystems platform. On top of that, because Outsystems is built on top of our runtime is built on top of AWS's infrastructure services, you get all the benefits of reliability and scalability, scale up, scale out capability that's native to the AWS platform. And all that comes nearly transparently for your applications. As long as you build your applications on the Outsystems platform, all that capability that's built into AWS to make sure that applications scale, are reliable, or available, that just comes along with our platform because it's cloud native and it's built on top of the AWS cloud. While it's essential for applications to be scalable, reliable, secure, manageable, one ability that's often overlooked is ensuring that applications are changeable. The software that makes a difference to our digital transformation journeys is software that's constantly changing because the needs of the business are constantly changing. And if the first time you deploy an application, it immediately becomes legacy, then that project will ultimately be a failure. And so Outsystems is built from the ground up to enable customers to manage change and make change actually a competitive advantage. So there's tools to ensure adherence to architectural standards. There's the nature of our development tools essentially make code self-documenting. The ability to deploy from a development environment to a testing environment, or from testing into production with essentially a single click, to managing dependencies across large portfolios of components. True change is one of the most critical features of our platform that uses automation and AI to ensure all that dependency checking is automated. So if you have a large portfolio of applications and you make a change in one component that has dependencies on a bunch of other components, True Change will make sure that no changes break those other components. And if there are inconsistencies, it can automatically heal across all those other components to ensure that you can continuously innovate within your portfolio of applications and continuously deploy into production without having any negative effects or downtime, basically eliminating the technical debt from the platform. Also, another great benefit of the platform is the ability for us to continuously innovate with the runtime, so that customers are able to get benefits of, for instance, when AWS upgrades an underlying service, because our runtime takes advantage of their infrastructure and it's decoupled from the rest of our platform, we can integrate those changes into our runtime, and customers' applications automatically gain the benefit of all the innovation that we've delivered and that AWS has delivered on the back end. So customers are able to continuously add their own features, and we're able to continuously add features to the platform without creating any discontinuities. Here's an example of a customer who's been able to take advantage of all these benefits that we just talked about. CM is Belgium's largest health insurance fund. They're an administrator of healthcare as part of Belgium's compulsory healthcare system. They've been around for over 100 years. They have over 500 physical branches in the country. But over the last couple of years, they've embarked on their own digital transformation journey, where they want to provide services through technology before their customers ever have to physically show up at a branch. And one of the most important assets that they wanted to create was a mobile app for their customers to interact. And currently they service over 4.5 million customers with this mobile app. An interesting aspect of CM's digital transformation challenge was that they had massive investment in existing Java-based infrastructure. They had hundreds of applications, they had 300 Java developers, and what they needed was a platform that would allow them to extend all those existing investments, both in terms of workflows and in terms of new customer-facing interfaces. And for that, they turned to the Outsystems platform. So far, they've built over 27 different applications with Outsystems, all taking advantage of their Java-based infrastructure that they started with. The most strategic and visible of those 27 applications is the MyCM application that they built. Outsystems has incredible tools for building mobile apps, both iPhone-based mobile apps as well as Android-based mobile apps, as well as support for tablets. The MyCM app is used by almost all of CM's 4.5 million users. And it was only the initial implementation of it was built in only 4 months with 5 developers. CM indicated that what they saw was that their developers were able to work at least 40% faster than they had previously been able to work with their existing tools and frameworks. And this app has been wildly successful. And if you just look at the App Store ratings, the Apple App Store rating for this app is 4.7, and the Google App Store rating is 4.5. These are incredibly well received applications, and CM continues to iterate. So we've talked about how Outsystems is able to make the software development process better, but we still have to address the issue of how digital transformation journeys are all inextricably tied together. And as we said before, the approach to get around that is to have a holistic view of all the digital transformation investments that you're making across your organization. So that being said, the way most customers start with their digital transformation journeys is that they'll pick a first project. Again, as I mentioned before, it's usually a customer-facing type of project. And then they'll pick a specialized tool to handle that particular type of digital transformation initiative. But then someone else in the organization who's thinking about maybe a back office solution will want to start a project, and they pick a different solution for that type of project. And another group is looking at how do we empower our employees, and they pick a different tool for that. And there's might be yet another group who's looking at modernizing the existing platform investments, and they pick yet another tool for doing that. And so what you end up with is a bunch of disparate projects with a bunch of disparate tools for accomplishing those projects, and none of them are connected together. There's no benefit across those different applications. And in fact, they all often solidify into independent silos, and they all end up at a dead end eventually. The cool thing about the Outsystems platform in this particular case is because of the breadth of the capability of the platform, it doesn't matter where you start or where you're going. The Outsystems platform can enable any and all of customers' digital transformation journeys. One of the reasons that we're able to do that is that the Outsystems platform is in fact a full stack platform. You can use Outsystems to build world-class user interfaces. You can use it to build whatever back-end logic, or to digitize and create new business processes. It will connect to all of the back-end data, no matter where that data resides. And as we discussed early on in the presentation, Outsystems includes integration with just about every kind of back-end system that you can imagine. There are over 300 out-of-the-box integrations already built into the platform. In each one of these areas, OutSystems has an incredible breadth of capability. For example, when it comes to building user interfaces, the OutSystems platform is nearly unrivaled. The expressiveness extends not only to the richness of the interfaces that can be built, but also the number of different platforms that can be targeted. You can build traditional web portals, you can build desktop apps, you can build mobile apps, beautiful apps for iPhones or for Android devices. You can build smartwatch apps, Alexa apps. We have a customer that's built a field services solution that uses augmented reality. If you can imagine it in terms of a user interface, you can build it with the OutSystems platform. The biggest benefit of the massive breadth of capability of the OutSystems platform is that it promotes reusability across all the different digital transformation initiatives within a customer organization. For instance, through an app modernization initiative, a company might build an order status component that's a front end to an existing ERP implementation. And that single order status component can show up in a bunch of different apps that are part of front office solutions like call center, field sales, inventory management, field services. But that same component can be reused across the CX transformation solutions that are being built, from support chatbots to agent partner portals to a customer self-service mobile app. That one component can be used across dozens of different solutions that get built. The same could be said of an internal user authentication component that sits on top of an existing identity service that could be used by a bunch of front office solutions and back office solutions, and on and on and on. Customers not only get to benefit by reusing their skill sets across all these different digital transformation initiatives, they can actually reuse the assets that were created for each of those digital transformation initiatives across the entire portfolio. To make it even easier to reuse code, OutSystems includes some really exciting AI-based architectural tools that will automatically refactor large portfolios of components. So we'll find where there's redundant code, pull that out of multiple components and create a single component that has connections to all the places where that code was pulled out. And through automatic refactoring and AI-based dependency checking and self-healing, that dramatically reduces technical debt in large-scale portfolios, and again, makes it even easier to be able to do reuse across all these digital transformation. I think one of our customers summed it up best. Cheryl Doran, who's the head of digital at LGSS, governmental agency in the UK, said, the more you build with OutSystems, the less you have to build. And so by taking a holistic approach to digital transformation and using a unified platform to streamline all of the different digital transformation journeys that an organization is going to undertake, it allows organizations to dramatically accelerate their move to digital to become more customer centric, but it does it in a way where you don't end up with silos and you're harnessing all of your existing investments. You're getting the benefit of all the existing investments while making sure that your transformation journeys are successful and don't run into the typical dead ends associated with digital transformation. So another example of a customer succeeding with the Outsystems platform is Kent State University in the United States. They've created a digital factory based on the Outsystems platform. They call it the Systems Development and Innovation Team. And they've built over 40 applications for the university. And they do 5 major releases every quarter of applications that help students, faculty, staff. They run the gamut of solutions. One of the latest applications that they built that they're super proud of, and a great example of both how OutSystems delivers speed as well as reuse, is the mobile app that is used for student orientation. So let's watch a quick video here.
COVID-19, we recognized that orientation could not exist in its current state. So we worked with Kent State University's IT team to develop a completely online orientation experience in the form of a mobile application called DKS Mobile.
We had a day or two lead time request from the customer, but knowing the capabilities of the Outsystems platform, what we'd used it for in the past, for our past apps, and just hearing a general idea of the request, we knew that we could repurpose some of the functionality that we had done before, and also turn around new functionality in a 2-week time period.
As soon as I set the basic design, our devs got to work building in Outsystems, and we had to work fast. The beauty of Outsystems was the real-time results. I could be on a call with developers and ask for a slight design adjustment, refresh the link, and there it was. I used the QA link non-stop to review screens with stakeholders. We ended up creating over 150 screens for 6 releases, and Outsystems handled everything we threw at it.
So this is a great example of customers succeeding with OutSystems in their digital transformation journeys, taking advantage of speed and flexibility and reuse of the platform. And so stepping back and answering that question, how can customers succeed with digital transformation? We see 3 major themes. One is the idea of relentless customer centricity. Again, digital transformation and becoming a modern digital business isn't about taking existing processes and just moving them online or digitizing existing processes. It's taking a completely different look at how our organization can connect with customers and using technology to facilitate these new ideas. It's relentless customer centricity. And because delivering those sorts of solutions require all sorts of different technologies, not just beautiful front ends, but often rely on modernizing existing infrastructure and applications, might require a back office function or a front office function that's associated with that customer facing function. Taking a platform approach where you can use a platform to handle all the different journeys, and thinking holistically about how all those digital transformation initiatives work together and really focus on eliminating those silos. With all three of those approaches together, we see that customers are able to achieve tremendous success with their digital transformation. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you found this presentation illuminating, and I appreciate your attending our Cloud Innovation Summit. I encourage you to attend some of the other sessions that we have today. And if you'd like more information about my presentation today, you can click on this link and we'll connect you with an expert on digital transformation from Outsystems. We'll also be sending an email with the link to speak to an expert, as well as some additional resources for you to explore. Again, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure speaking to you today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.